So, what's an op-ed and what are we really doing in this first assignment? Um, an op-ed, simply, is a short, usually 850 to 1,000 word article in which an individual shares his or her opinion on a topic that's interesting to him or her. And really, it's as simple as that. The parameters are pretty open. And now, most of us are familiar with op-eds because we see them in newspapers. It actually originated in the New York Times, right? We have the opinion section. The Union Tribune has an opinion section where we can find op-eds. The Wall Street Journal has an opinion section. In fact, most newspapers or even online sources have these opinion sections where people are allowed to write in and to share their opinion on a given subject. In fact, even our college newspaper, The Chariot, has an opinion section. And so for this assignment, I'm interested in everyone developing an op-ed. And so that's what we're doing. Now, there are a few more rules than just that. When I talk about developing an op-ed, I want folks to share their opinion on a given subject, but I don't want just a rant. That's not what we're looking for here. When I say opinion, we can think that the op-ed is going to provide a series of claims, and it's also then going to support those claims and provide lines of reasoning. And so you can see here that I've marked it, right? That really we're looking for an argument with some evidence. And now, of course, the evidence could be outside research, but it does not have to be. It could also be anecdotal. There can be personal examples. And often in an op-ed, you're going to be using a variety of other rhetorical appeals as well. So, for example, often people are writing about something that they have some expertise in. And so that ethos appeal becomes really important. Now, what isn't an op-ed? An op-ed's not just a rant, at least for us and in credible publications. They're not publishing stuff where people are just ranting. That's not what I'm interested in at all. I really want a clear, focused, logical argument that's taking shape. It's also not an MLA formatted essay. And what I mean by that is it's not as if there's this formulaic, I must have the thesis at the bottom of the introduction and then a topic sentence for the first paragraph and I have 5 paragraphs sort of writing. That's not what we're interested in either. And so really what we're interested in is real world argumentation that's logical, but that happens in a specific context and must take into consideration a specific audience. And so that's really what this assignment is about. And my thinking behind this assignment is that often in the quote-unquote real world, what I should just say is when we're not doing academic essay writing, writing demands that we think about the context and that we think about the audience. And so for this assignment, I'm asking all of us to consider the MiraCosta context and audience. And so I want you guys to imagine that you're writing an op-ed for the Chariot newspaper. And so this is the newspaper that's published at MiraCosta for the MiraCosta audience, for the students, for the faculty, for the staff. And so when you think about the argument you're going to make, and you think about the evidence you're going to use, and you think about the language choices and the tone, you want to take into consideration that specific audience. So hopefully that gives you an understanding of what we're doing here. Now, I want to touch briefly on the prompt. I think the prompt is pretty clear, but I want to highlight a couple of things. What I'm really asking you to do in this assignment is I'm asking you to all start by choosing a very specific cultural narrative that you're interested in. And I give some examples on the prompt here. And so what I'd like folks to do is to start their op-ed by introducing the cultural narrative and then providing some evidence of the existence of that narrative. And then once you've done that, I'm asking for you guys to take a position on it. So for example, let's imagine that you wanted to deal with the cultural narrative of going green, right? And you think about walking through Trader Joe's and you think about how you've got to bring your own bag, right? And so there's this idea, right, in the culture that it's really important that we go green. Well, there's this narrative that exists, and so you would introduce that narrative, excuse me, give some anecdotes of walking through Trader Joe's and showing that the narrative does exist, and then you would take a position on it. And in the next few paragraphs, you would argue for the position you take on that given narrative. And so all of us are dealing with these cultural narratives and these positions we have, and then we're building arguments, and we're bringing in a variety of different types of support, and we're really thinking about how we can make it rhetorically effective. So I hope this gives you a pretty clear overview of where we're headed in this first assignment. If you have questions, let me know. Take care.